another edition of the Sndpodcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Steven here with Dan.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing tonight?
Just a reminder, Schmuck Sports Network is part of the schmucksports.com. Schmuck Sports for and by Schmucks.
Yeah, good growth on the first week. A lot of articles been posted. Keith and your friend Phil, who wrote a hockey piece that was pretty well.
Also Joe wrote some stuff. We have a new band basically writing songs on their own and having a good time doing that. And we've been using their music. The band is called Division 1.1. You could check them out on Facebook. Also, if you're interested in getting their music, check it out right now it's on a website called cdbaby.com, where you could buy the files. I believe next week they'll be on Amazon and iTunes as well. Check out their album. It's called With a Vengeance. Today's song, Cross the Bear. Interesting wildcard weekend.
Yeah, it was very fun. It wasn't the best weekend out there, but it got the job out. Of course, it ended with controversy, like always. NFL week wouldn't. But we'll get back to that. The Texans, the Packers, Ravens, and Seahawks all won. I was 4-0 this week in our pool. Yay me.
I thought the Bengals could win that game.
Fair enough. They were close to covering. They didn't cover for me. Anyway, yeah, it was this week's gonna be a lot better. I'm more excited for this week, which has a lot of good matchups and potential one step closer to the Super Bowl, going to the conference championship week this week.
I did hear an interesting stat. Did you see Shanahan is now like 1-7 or 1-5, I think it is, with quarterbacks not named John Elway in the playoffs.
Really, I didn't hear that, but that is a pretty interesting stat.
That is interesting, especially because going forward now, he's going to have what looks like might end up being Kirk Cousins early in the season next year, depending on RG3's rehab. It was an exciting week. This week's big week, Divisional playoffs. Final 8.
Final 8, yep.
Final 8. It's the Elite 8 of the NFL playoffs. Well, we're on playoffs talk. Would you expand the playoffs? There's been some mumbling about the NFL expanding.
No. I like it the way it is.
You wouldn't add another 2 teams?
No. I like how it is now. Teams got to play better. That's just the way it's... That's just the way it is. It shouldn't. It would just be a longer week, a couple weeks. It's not needed. It's the right amount where everybody's used to it. There shouldn't be change. If it's not broken, why fix it kind of situation.
Right.
Would the top seed wouldn't get a bye, or would they get a bye, 2 weeks bye? It's stupid.
I think the top seed gets a 2-week bye, and then
that's retarded. I'm sorry, politically incorrect. That's stupid. That would be too much, but there's no point. We'll have like a 500 team or a team like the Giants this year who'd make the playoffs and not make any damage unless they got hot again. I wouldn't think that would be a great idea. The way it is now is good, and there won't be any like under 500 team like the Seahawks were a couple years ago that didn't deserve to make playoffs but found a way to get in.
Okay, that's fair enough. A bunch of things to go over today. Got all the games coming up. We'll review last week. We'll let Dan run down all of the BCS championship.
Why bother? It was a good year. SEC, but there's just a division of their own.
Some people think that division could make it in the NFL.
Yeah. No, yeah. It is the minor leagues of the NFL. Alabama really kicked their butts, and that's all I need to say about that. Unfortunately, it'd be interesting to see what Brian Kelly does with the Eagles offer.
Well, I was going to ask you later in the show. Okay. How do you feel about that? Brian Kelly.
I'll be honest with you. if he goes to the NFL, he's not going to be a good coach.
But as a giant Notre Dame fan, he goes to the Eagles.
That actually helps out the Giants, to be honest with you. I can't see him being a real good NFL coach unless he keeps Michael Vick or something crazy.
He's a running quarterback.
The spread offense. He's a good coach, don't get me wrong, but he's not. He's nowhere near NFL caliber. But hopefully he goes to the Eagles. The Giants will benefit off that.
So this week, have some couple rematches from the season. The Texans will go back to New England. The Packers and Niners, a rematch from week 1. And also the Ravens-Broncos from a couple weeks ago, where, like the Rich Eisen podcast say, the Broncos boat raced the Ravens.
Yeah, well, a lot of boat racing, if we're going to use that term and steal it. The wrong team. The Texans got boat raced by the Patriots this year as well.
I heard it's interesting. The last time that the Patriots had a bye
was against the Ravens.
No. A couple years ago, they had a bye.
Yeah.
Who did they play that week? Week they played the Jets, Divisional playoff.
Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry.
Think about what happened during that season.
Yeah.
The Jets got destroyed Monday Night Football in New England, and then went back there for the Divisional playoffs and won that game. So, Texans can ride that, And Foster's riding I don't know if you saw him change his Twitter picture. Somebody said that it's a real shame that the Patriots got 2 bye weeks in the playoffs this year.
Huh. What's his Twitter pic? I didn't see it.
It's something that says that. And it's just motivating him.
Listen, the Texans haven't been playing well. What better way for them to wake up than going on the road where no one expects them to win in Foxborough? They'll have every motivational tool going. Heads up that the Patriots are not going to respect them. They're going to try to score 100 points like they always do. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, we have a big show for you guys today, so let's get it started with reviewing last week.
Welcome back to the Sndpodcast by Schmuck Sports Net. Dan here with Steve. We're gonna start off with the Texans winning 19-13 against the Bengals. Arguably the worst game out of the 4 that started last week.
2 plays. What is the difference in this game? Dalton threw a ball that AJ Green had in his hands in the end zone early in the game, which he had, and then I don't remember who the safety was, but he came in and hit Green and got the ball out of his hands. And then later, I think it was either that drive or the next drive, another play where Dalton overthrew Green by, I think, 3 or 4 steps.
To be honest with you, I watched majority of the game. Andy Dalton didn't have any groove the whole entire game. The Texans D finally stepped up. It's been a few weeks, but they stepped up really good. I honestly, Andy Dalton threw in coverage the whole entire game. I didn't think he had any movement at all. It was just a very flat game. They shut down AJ Green, like you said. He threw a couple in-coverage picks. It was just an ugly game for Andy Dalton that he would wish he had back after having such a great year. Arian Foster showed up. He had a great game. He had a bunch of yards. He had a touchdown. Let's see, how many yards?
140.
Yeah, he killed it this week. Jarvis Green didn't have any. He didn't really have any input this game. He only had 63 yards this game. That's all you really need to know. The Bengals didn't use their bread and butter, and AJ Green was shut out the majority of the game. He actually had 80 catches, 80 yards, 5 catches, but that was all in the second half.
Their one touchdown by them was an early pick six by Leon Hall.
Yeah, if it wasn't for a pick six, their offense did absolutely nothing.
J.J. Watt showed up again.
Yeah.
J.J. Swat.
He had a couple swats, which is...
Yep, including also had a sack.
Yeah, their defense just had Andy Dalton all day long. They had his number. Unfortunately, Andy Dalton didn't play how good he's been the whole entire year, but that's what happens. The Bengals will be back next year. They have a good young group, a good core group. They have a solid defense. It was just one of those days, unfortunately, that the Texans were better, which they should have been. They shouldn't even been playing this game. Unfortunately, they are.
Bengals, they need another year. They're that team. They 2 years in a row. Next year will be a third year with this core. So, put them together next year again. Hopefully get Dalton a couple more weapons. Gresham's got to do a better job at the receiving aspect as a tight end. Also, Hawkins has a chance of becoming a decent number 2 receiver or a slot guy. So if you could add another receiver maybe to that team, they could end up being a good team.
They really are. They have that making. It's going to be a tough division in the AFC North, like it is every year. But they have what it takes to be good because they have a good defense, a running game, and a solid quarterback that can get AJ Green the ball.
Right. But like I said, you need other weapons than AJ Green in the passing game. Which, like I said, Hawkins, isn't Brendan Tate a wideout, a young wideout?
Yeah.
As well. Maybe he can step up next year. They should go out and try and get themselves a receiver. Add to the offense. Because that's going to be what carries that team. Because that division's built on defense. But if you can get an offense, you'll beat the defenses.
Yep, I completely agree with you on that.
The other Saturday game was the Packers hosting the Minnesota Vikings, or the Minnesota Adrian Petersons, like a lot of people like to call it.
Yeah, I in my playoff pool, I had the over, thinking that we were gonna have Ponder. Granted, he wouldn't have done that much against the Packers, but they would have kept the Packers defense a little more honest. That hurt my pool a little bit, but it was 24-10.
A lot of the rumors is that Minnesota actually decided Friday that Ponder wasn't playing, but kept it a secret because they wanted the Packers to keep preparing for Ponder.
You can tell, like when he was throwing in warm-ups when I was watching NFL Game Day, he was just throwing softly like it was just you and me in the backyard just having catch. It was just for show. Unfortunately, poor Joe Webb, who hasn't thrown a pass all season. You can't expect that playoff game in Lambeau Field. Division rivals after losing to the same team the week before.
They beat them. Vikings won the week before.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
the Packers are heavily motivated and they want to return back to the Super Bowl after getting upset against the Giants last year.
They also had momentum. The Packers getting Charles Woodson back. The first time since I think like October. Just proves though, this game, how great Adrian Peterson is. Yeah,
the Packers finally shut him down, quote unquote, but he still had 99 yards.
99 yards to the Packers, that's considered shutting Adrian Peterson down.
And may I add,
think about that.
they didn't have to worry about throwing the ball because Joe Webb hasn't thrown all season, so they had the whole team on the box, and that's just impressive. Let's see,
Webb did have a touchdown pass.
He did.
He threw for 180 yards.
That's not bad for someone who hasn't played.
That's your preseason. That's a preseason. He had, besides a temp number, he had preseason. He had preseason numbers.
Yeah.
He was 7 for 68 on the ground as well.
That he didn't have a bad game. It's like, what else are you expecting him to do? They only lost by 14 points.
It was garbage time points, really.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers had an okay game again. He threw it to Kuhn. Kuhn had a touchdown.
Yeah, but the key was that he didn't have to have a big game.
No,
and he knew it.
He didn't. He's saving it for this week.
Remember, they're the team that wanted to buy.
Yep.
So they basically got one.
But they're going to be better off.
Oh yeah, playing that week will make them much better off. We'll get to what they play later. Now to the games on Sunday. First game, arguably the most emotional game in NFL history.
Please stop with the sarcasm. With the Ray Lewis, it was nice to see. Chuck Pagano came back to Baltimore.
Turned to Baltimore. Bruce Arians got sick the morning
that
of.
was rough.
The guy who's been coaching them all season, and the offensive coach, sick.
It was Ray Lewis's last quote-unquote home game ever in Baltimore. Colts came back to Baltimore, and the Ravens fans still obviously have a chip in their shoulder because they were all originally Colt fans. If they're originally Colts fans, grew up to see them leave in the middle of the night.
Well, they were sleeping.
Yeah, Joe Flacco and Ray Rice took care of business. We saw the best catch of the day, actually, in this game with Anquan Bolden, pretty much just ripping the ball out of the DB's hands when he was perfect coverage. That's all the Ravens. They played great D. They only allowed up 9 points, so 3 field goals.
Andrew Luck's first playoff game was actually the leader in passing in the game, with 288 yards.
They just couldn't find the end zone, unfortunately. Well, anyway, it was a great year for Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Colts are a team on the rise.
Yeah.
They gotta realize that. They might also be arguably the luckiest franchise, no pun intended, because you go from having Peyton Manning all those years to then not having Peyton Manning for a year, and you end up with who people think will be the next Peyton Manning.
Yeah, they got lucky. That's all you need sometimes. They're in good hands.
Yeah. I think Pagano.
Knocking on wood, if Chuck Pagano stays in remission and regains being healthy.
Also, Bruce Arians. I'm kind of hope he stays around there for a while. Yeah. Once again, Pierce was actually the leading rusher for the Ravens. Ray Rice didn't have a fumble all year, fumbled twice in this game.
Yeah, that was odd to see. He's not a fumbler, so he's gonna try extra hard this week not to mess that up.
Shockingly enough, Ray Lewis actually led the team in tackles.
He had an easy pick that should have been caught too.
It was the Brace, didn't you hear?
I know. My grandma could have caught that pass. But it was good to see. It was nice to see Ray Lewis's last dance and the crowd going crazy and the team pretty much doing it in front of him. So that was pretty clever.
You knew that something was gonna happen with that. You had to think that he was gonna go out there for that final kneel.
Oh,
kind of saw it set up for that.
But I was listening to Dave Demishak's podcast this week. He's a big Steeler fan, so he's obviously gonna poo-poo it a lot. And I kind of agree with him. You kind of celebrating that you guys are in advancing to another round, not acting like you've been there before. But on the other hand, I could see why it was Ray Lewis's last home game, and they could have done a little better not looking that it was the end of the world, that they just won the Super Bowl kind of thing. But he's been a career-long Raven, and when you think of the Baltimore Ravens, you think of Ray Lewis. So, I don't know. It was a little too much for me, like Dave Demashek and Hal Rank said. But
he didn't have to dance. Going out for the name was fine. Let him be on the field and be by himself for that last moment on that field.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to dance.
What do you mean dance? He danced again at the end of the game?
Yeah. After the kneel down, he did his intro dance.
Oh, he didn't need to do that. I didn't realize that.
Reggie Wayne said it the best. It was one of the most disrespectful things to do.
Yeah, definitely.
It's adding injury to insult.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Arguably the best game of the weekend.
Yes.
Seattle at Washington. Rookie versus rookie.
Yeah, it was Wilson versus RG3. The quarterbacks colliding. The storybook story of Russell Wilson, the third-round pick that everybody overlooked.
Pick 75.
Pick 75. A lot of teams are going to be kicking themselves in the butt because they thought he was too small, and that was silly.
They said arguably he was the, if not best, the second best guy in the draft.
Yeah. And then we had RG3. We all know about RG3. He carried the Redskins from 3-6 and to win the division. And Alfred Morris. They all had a good game. They took an early 14-0 lead.
But that was the game changer.
That was the game changer.
14-0.
RG3 got hurt the play before. And then that was the game. Best up his knee, and for the rest of the game,
he wasn't the same player. He wasn't even a threat.
He wasn't even a threat. He was still able to pocket pass, but the RG3 we know and love that couldn't be mobile at all. It was pretty sad to see, coming from a division foe. But it's sad to see someone with that caliber getting hurt and not being able to perform on his highest level. And there was a lot of debate. Should he have came out of the game? Should he not? Shanahan did say that he deserved the right to play. And me playing football in high school, understand that. I played through injuries. Pretty much, it was only a matter of time when RG3's knee, which was already injured in that big bulky brace, that his knee was gonna snap, and unfortunately it happened on a fumble that pretty much sealed the deal.
He didn't even do anything on that play.
The field is just garbage. I can't believe that an NFL team is able to have that.
Well, look at the Bears. Here. Bears also have a field just like that.
Yeah. It's really disgusting, and also that's where AP did destroy his knee last year on the same field.
Well, that's why the Redskins are optimistic that he's going to be ready for opening day, because basically they're reconstructing that whole leg just like they did with Peterson. So
he's gonna have a lot of rehabbing. He's gonna want to come back, prove him more. He has a bad taste left in his mouth. I hope for RG3's sake that he learns how to protect himself and sing from Michael Vick and those guys who wear down. His rookie year, he got destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely destroyed this whole entire year.
No question about it.
Second half of the year, he got destroyed. And it shows how tough he is because he played through it, and his knockout blow was his knee just blowing up everywhere. But
you gotta think, if he keeps playing the way he is, 2 years from now, you won't have to worry about him anymore.
Unfortunately,
you won't even have to worry. Tuck said it the best after the first time they played each other.
Yeah.
I hate the NFL gods for putting him in the division and having to play him twice a year. But you know what? In a couple of years, he's going to be just like Vic, all worn down.
The $1 billion question is, are they going to be able to... Do you see the Redskins? Well, they're not going to do it now, obviously, because they don't know if RG3 is going to be healthy. But if RG3 was healthy, do you think they were going to trade Kirk Cousins?
Not next season, but the following off season, yes.
Because you can tell he's not obviously the Redskins guy, because RG3 is their guy.
Right.
It was a good backup pick. Where I liked that pick when they did.
It was a safety net pick.
That was a very good pick.
Wasn't he picked before Russell Wilson?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Just going to throw that one out there. The same Russell Wilson who ran a toss play to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
And made the key block in the game.
Just players like that. It's great to see when quarterbacks get involved on plays and not just watching from behind.
Russell Wilson has the heart everybody should play with.
Yeah.
He just goes out there and he goes to win.
It was a very impressive win. Another impressive win by the Seahawks.
I think they're no longer a joke.
They're absolutely not a joke anymore.
Granted, they had all those years where they won the division all those years in a row with Hasselbeck and Holmgren there, but now it's a totally different team. Now they're not a joke. They have defense, which the matchup this weekend for their defense is going to be amazing. We'll get into a little later. Chris Clemens did tear his ACL, so he's out.
That was a big blow. That
and also their kicker, they signed Ryan Longwell. They were both put on. The only advantage with Clemens going down is Irving's going to get more playing time now.
Mm-hmm.
The rookie, who last week, everybody, Matt, who, thank you again for coming and being on the show, Matt, said it will be the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, there was a good call on Matt on that. Unfortunately, it was due to an injury that he finally had an impact.
Well, Irvin has an impact.
He has
and
an
also,
impact, but it's more
bigger now.
Bigger now.
But the awards are also voted on before the playoffs start, so it has nothing to do with that, which is always a good thing. So Morris had a decent game.
Yeah.
Only got the ball 16 times.
That's too little for the Redskins to be successful.
Typical running team, like the Eagles. You don't give the guy who carried you there all year the ball. If they gave Morris the ball more in this game, I think they could have ended up winning it because he would have taken the pressure off RG3's running.
Yeah.
And then could have opened up the passing.
But I also think what happened is once RG3 got hurt, the Seahawks knew
they blitzed on every play.
So that's why they didn't.
So they left Morris back to block for him.
That's why his stats line wasn't good. But he had a great rookie year. If it wasn't so many rookie quarterbacks this season, he would have had a good shot at winning Rookie of the Year any other year.
Well, if it wasn't for Luck and
RG3
and Russell Wilson, you could argue Morris. There's a lot of guys.
Or Doug Martin.
Wilson, all-purpose yards-wise. If this was a crappy quarterback class, you could have argued that one of those three could have won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like I said, 8 teams left. Divisional round starts this week. And welcome back to the Sndpodcast on the Schmuck Sports Network. Divisional playoffs this weekend. Last weekend of the NFL season. That will involve Saturday and Sunday football. Saturday you have the Ravens at the Broncos at 4:30. You have Green Bay at San Francisco.
Saturday looks like the better day for games at the moment. Of course, you know that always changes with injuries or just any lackluster performances, but I clearly see Saturday as the better games. First off is the Ravens versus Denver Broncos. Peyton Manning's first home game as a Bronco.
Biggest thing is to think about when you think of this game. Peyton Manning's playoff history on the road as a Colt on the road in bad weather.
Yeah.
That's what you got to think about.
Honestly,
He's always played in a dome.
That's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. They have the home crowd ready to go. Peyton Manning has been there, done that. He's played in games. Granted, some games he's played in poor conditions, and it was because of the road. The team didn't show up to play, unfortunately, and he looked bad. It's going to be a good game. It really comes down to the Broncos. I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying Peyton Manning with the Colts. The Broncos are a 10-point favorite at the moment on Thursday night when we record this show. 10 points. Do the Ravens and Joe Flacco show up and give it an old classic fight like the Baltimore Ravens normally do? Or will the high-powering Bronco offense shut them down and their defense shows up and rattles Joe Flacco?
The Ravens are pissed because of what happened week 15, week 14, something like that, at their hometown, in their home stadium. They got destroyed. But really, if you look back on that game, there was one play that changed it. That was the difference in the entire game. Pick 6 late in the first half.
Yep.
That was it. Final score of the game was 34-17. But that play was the difference. 98 yards. 15 seconds left in the half. 98 yards, Chris Harris for a touchdown. 98 yards. Means they had the ball on the 2. They punched that in. It's a totally different ballgame. Yeah. It was 10-0 Broncos before that pick. It's 10-7 going into half if you get it in the end zone.
Yep, that's just Joe Flacco at its finest.
He just had a bad couple of weeks, and this game happened to be in the middle of it.
Yep.
They couldn't bounce back. They bounced back. They won a couple games later as the weeks went on, of course. But that was the difference maker in that game. Like you said, it is a 10-point spread. Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning. I don't see him not showing up to this game.
He's definitely showing up.
Is there a word if McGahee's playing?
I haven't heard anything yet. I don't believe he'll be. I just don't see it. Sean Marino has had a good season coming back after being in the doghouse all season. And once McGahee got hurt, it's a lot of firepower. Can the Broncos keep it up? Or can Joe Flacco catch up with Ray Rice? As long as Ray Rice is getting the ball and is being efficient, the Ravens have a shot.
Ray Rice and Pierce, the other running back.
Yeah.
Those two are the key for the Ravens.
Like every week. But this week especially because they can control the clock more and have it ready to go. But it's going to be a classic mental game between Ray Lewis and Peyton Manning, like old school.
For the last time, you're going to see one of the best defensive captain versus the best offensive captain.
Yeah.
In the game. Go at it.
Absolutely.
Which I'm really excited about to see. If it happens to be Ray Lewis's last game, no question, the Lawrence Taylor of this time.
No question. He is our best defensive leader and player at the moment to lace it up in our generation. Patrick Willis is going to come and step up and take that role after Ray Lewis retires.
Barring any injuries.
Barring any injury, of course.
It'll be fun. Can Michael Orr keep Von Miller off of Joe Flacco?
Get all your blindside jokes ready to go for that. It's going to be tricky to see. You know they're going to give him as much help as possible because Von Miller's been an animal this year.
But that's the thing. That entire defense has been animals.
Yeah. Him and Dumberville and their D-line. It's going to be interesting to see.
And to be honest, as the Broncos, there's nobody in the league that I want to see win more than Champ Bailey.
Yeah, he deserves it.
He's never won a ring. He deserves a ring. And I'm going to call it now that he'll retire if they win a ring.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's been in the league for almost ever.
I see that. Absolutely. I say the Broncos are going to win. They've been good all year. But the Ravens are going to cover. 10's too big.
10's too big, especially for a playoff game. The only way that's going to happen is if the Ravens lay a complete egg.
Yeah, unless Joe Flacco and Ray Rice's fumbling bug is... If his bug is still there, which I highly doubt. He never really fumbled this year, other than Sunday, I'm sorry. It's going to be interesting. I say the Broncos do win, and Ray Lewis's career is over. It's been a great career.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Of course. Unfortunately, it had to come to an end sooner or later. And Peyton, and it's just Peyton's time, his redemption year. So I say Colts win. See, I did it again. This is the third time. Broncos win.
We gotta get one of those bell things.
Yeah, Broncos win, but the Ravens cover.
Ravens are gonna cover this game. The only thing that can really hurt them is the short week. I mean, you played Sunday.
Oh.
And now you're playing an early game Saturday.
It'll be fun.
In a different time zone.
And the thinner air.
So, I could end up seeing the Broncos actually covering this game. To be honest.
They can get a late minute. They can get a late score to make it to 10. I can see that, but Ravens have too much pride. So I'm going Colts win, but Ravens cover.
Colts win, Ravens cover. Both of us are going to do that one. The other Saturday game is what I think the best game of the weekend.
It's going to be the best week, easily. It's going to be the classic battle of great offense versus great defense.
Aaron Rodgers, another one of those quarterbacks who's playing against a team that passed him up. Remember?
Passed him up, and it's his hometown team.
Grew up idolizing Joe Montana.
And Steve Young.
The Niners had the first overall pick, and they took Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers. We all remember the camera showing Aaron Rodgers after every pick in the green room.
Yes.
That's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a good game. I see the Packers are going to win. It's a 3-point favorite for the Niners, but both teams last year their season both ended dramatically to the Giants. The Packers didn't show up, plain simple, against the Giants, but the Niners, on the different hand, pretty much gave the Giants the victory for not having an offense at all, and to Williams' fumbles in the punting game.
Right.
So both teams have a lot to prove. They both had a shot at making the Super Bowl last year. So which team is going to prevail and play the better team?
Well, I do have the Packers in the Super Bowl.
I agree.
So the Packers are going to win this game.
And they also have a quarterback advantage. Granted, it's in San Fran. The Packers do have a quarterback advantage because Aaron Rodgers has done it before and has won a Super Bowl. On the road, he's taken the Packers on the road in hostile environments, and I think he's going to take it there. Kaepernick is a young player who's never played in a playoff game before.
This is arguably the biggest game he'll ever play.
Yeah. So he's going to get a little rattled.
There was never really... I think he played Boise State.
Yeah.
And that was
one time in Notre Dame, I remember. But honestly, it's gonna be a good measuring stick on how Kaepernick really is playing a decent defense. They get after it. So, and with what's in back their heart and soul, their defense, it's gonna be interesting to see. It really is how the 49er offense takes care of business, because their defense is gonna try to do their job. It's not. Are they going to be able to stop Aaron Rodgers? Is hopefully how can they contain Aaron Rodgers?
This is your classic defense versus defense game.
Possibly, yeah.
You have two of the top 5 defenses in the league. Packers finished in the top 15. The Niners, I think, were number 2 in the league in defense. This is going to be a fun game. That's what I'm expecting. Nice, fun game. Packers are going to take it. In other words, they'll cover as well. The key with Kaepernick is really... Is he going to be able to take advantage of his legs and opening everything up?
And does he get shot? Does he get gun shy?
Right. I mean, think about this. He went into New England Sunday Night Football.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He
and won that game. Also, you're going to get plenty of Frank Gore this week. Plenty of Frank Gore. Randall Cobb's going to play. They're all going to play. The Niners won in Lambeau early in the year. But this also becomes one of those, can the Packer offensive line control Aldon Smith?
That's the biggest. Like I said, the Niners D is going to keep them in this game. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to have his moments because he's Aaron Rodgers, but can Kaepernick carry them over that hump to get into the conference finals and either playing home against the Seahawks or going on the road against Atlanta?
It's also, if you want to talk weather-wise, it's basically a summer preseason game weather for the Packers. 54 degrees is
that's nothing. They're happy to be there.
They're walking around in shorts when they get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just came off a game. I think they said it was in the teens.
Yeah. So Packers are going to be ready to go.
Packers are going to be ready to go.
He's going to be ready to sling it. It's his hometown.
And they passed him. It's one of those chips on his shoulder. I heard an interesting thing about chips on the shoulder. Maurice Jones-Drew. You know why he wears number 32?
Because all 32 teams passed on him. Yep.
Players don't forget when teams pass on them.
I don't know.
Especially teams that need that position.
Yeah.
So, I actually see this being one of those 1-point games.
I'm taking the Packers to win and cover.
I'm going to take the Packers to win, but not to cover.
It's a 3-point. No, the Niners 3-point favorite.
Oh, that's right. So they'll cover.
They would cover.
Sunday, the most interesting game.
It's the Seahawks versus the Falcons.
At 1 o'clock. It's another one of those traveling cross country things.
Yes.
But it's what, 10 a.m. kickoff?
Yes, it's 10 a.m. kickoff for the Seahawks. Honestly, if the Falcons don't win, it's put up or shut up time for the Falcons. They have not won a playoff game in Mike Smith or Matt Ryan's tenure as Falcons coach and quarterback. It's finally going to be their time to shine, at least for this week. Unfortunately, the magical run with Russell Wilson is going to end, but it just has to end for the Falcons, and they're due for a playoff win.
Tony Gonzalez is due for a playoff win. The Falcons aren't due. Tony Gonzalez is due for a playoff game.
He's never won a playoff game as well. His team has never won a playoff game.
Granted, he played with the Chiefs for all those years.
But they made the playoffs a bunch of times.
Trent Green.
Yeah. No, it really is. I would love to see the Seahawks win, but the Falcons are so due. They've been talking about it all year long. They've been the dark horse all year long. It doesn't mean anything until they play in the playoffs, because that's all they've been missing the entire year. So the Falcons know it's on their mind. It's up to the Falcons to show up this week and just kick butt. They have home field throughout the playoffs, and it's either now or never for the Falcons, unfortunately.
I think, first off, unfortunately, I don't think Atlanta's that good. They should have lost to the Panthers twice.
Yeah.
They lost. Didn't they get swept by Tampa?
Yeah.
They're not that good. They haven't even played anybody else that good arguably the Giants was their toughest opponent all season.
Destroyed us.
And destroyed them. So, Matt Ryan's got to produce.
They're going to produce. They're going to be able to throw. It's going to be a tough game, but I think the Falcons are finally going to get over the hump just for this week.
The Falcon, this game has the most intriguing matchup. Seattle defensive backs versus Rodney White and Julio.
That's going to be a great matchup. I'm excited to see that matchup just for the sure fact of all the Pro Bowlers that are in that game. Or Pro Bowl caliber players that will be in.
Rodney White said they're the best 1-2 punch in the league.
Well, they are.
Arguably, the corners on Seattle are the best 1-2 corners in the league. So,
absolutely.
Here you go, Rodney White. Take what you said and prove it.
It's good. I think they're going to finally get over the hump and win a playoff game.
I think they're going to win it as well. It's going to be a close game. I don't think Atlanta's defense is that good, so I think Seattle could put up points, which is why you could argue that Seattle's going to win this game.
Oh, yeah. You don't count out Seattle. As long as we've been watching the last few weeks this season, you can't count out Seattle. Pete Carroll's going to have their team ready to go. Granted, it's a 10 a.m. start. I'm pretty sure, knowing Pete Carroll...
The curfew. Set a curfew.
Not only that, I'm sure they're getting up extra early, getting ready, practice mentally what time, in the East Coast time, what time they're getting up and being prepared for that. I would assume that.
Which is another thing you could talk about with this game, is the Pete Carroll factor. Has he ever really won a huge game in the NFL?
In the NFL, no.
If he wins this game,
that's it.
He's finally gotten over that you're not an NFL coach.
Yeah.
Granted they had a great year, and granted they won last week, a game that some people argued they couldn't win. But if he could win this week, or even just get to the Super Bowl this year, you can't argue that he's not a good enough coach.
Yeah, just all the chips are going towards the Falcons this week. They're long overdue. They're home, and they're playing at a 1 o'clock game versus a West Coast team that's playing at a 10 o'clock start. It's not an excuse, but normally does its job. And their defense has been good this year as well. They haven't been slouches, so hopefully they rattle Russell Wilson, which I highly doubt. And Marshawn Lynch is good against anybody, even against the 49ers that they play 2 times a year. So that's going to be one of the best games of the year. On to the next game, the Texans at the Patriots after 4:30. Another rematch. The Texans got destroyed.
Monday Night Football. Letterman.
Yeah.
They did a Friday Night Lights theme thing because they are from Texas, and Friday night is football night in Texas. Final score there was 42-14.
They got lit up. It was the beginning of the tail slide.
That was supposed to be the championship game preview.
Yes.
In New England, but the championship game was supposed to be in Houston.
The Texans have a lot to prove. That's a 10-point favorite.
Yes, another 10-point favorite.
The AFC matchups are spread out this week.
Because look at the 2 road teams and how they played down the stretch. Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
That is a fair point.
Schaub has a lot of arm injuries recently, past couple of seasons. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Because of them, I think that it took a lot away from him, a lot of shoulder problems. So he can't really throw the ball downfield. You're going to have a lot of Arian Foster.
Arian Foster, yeah. Arian Foster is going to it's going to be all on Arian Foster and Ben Tate this week. Of course, they're going to be able to throw on the Patriots secondary. So, Schaub's just going to have to find his spots. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an offensive battle this week.
Foster can't have 46 yards again.
Can J.J. Watt
get to Tom Brady,
and does their defense hold up the Patriots offense, which is fully healed for the first time this entire year?
The Giants showed you how to beat the Patriots. Defense.
Yeah.
Hard hitting.
And the
Get
Texans
to
have
Tom
that.
Brady.
The
Right.
Texans have that. It's Matt Schaub. Does Matt Schaub have enough what it takes to beat the Patriots in New England?
It'll be interesting. It's going to be a nighttime game, so you got to think it's going to be cold.
It's going to be a cold game.
It's going to be cold. There's a slight chance it might rain.
Or snow, since it's in New England.
Foxborough in January is bumping all the time.
Oh yeah, they expect to be here every year around this time of year.
Right.
Rightfully so. And
Brady and Belichick, as long as they're around, you should always expect to be playing a home game this weekend.
I think the Patriots are hungry and they want to keep it up. They were disrespected last year by losing to the Giants again in another heartbreaking fashion. So they have a lot to prove, and their offense finally healthy for the first time this year.
Brady wants that fourth ring, and you can see it in his eyes. And so does Belichick. You can see it in their eyes because they're due for that fourth ring.
They really are.
Twice. 18-0. They went into one. Last year they should have won that game. Healthy Gronkowski, they won the Super Bowl last year.
Yep.
I'm
if Welker doesn't drop the ball.
10-point game again. I think that they'll cover this game because they're going to come out.
Knowing the Patriots, they're going to cover, unfortunately.
Belichick comes off as one of those betting coaches that you don't hear about, but it always covers.
Yeah. They like to point up the score. But if Matt Schaub finally has a good game, they're going to be able to hang in with the Patriots.
Oh, no question.
No quarterback normally is able to hang in with the Patriots when the Patriots are fully on. So it's really up to their D and if they can get to Tom Brady. Because once Tom Brady gets hit, he doesn't like it. He does not like getting hit at all. Well, no quarterback does, but for him, more than usual.
It's going to be another fun weekend. Divisional round. Final 8.
Final 8. Oh, welcome back, guys. You guys are just listening to Across the Bear by Division 1.1. I have a local band in Jersey that we're friends with, that were nice enough to let us promote them and play their music for our show.
Thank you to them for that. Check out their album With a Vengeance. It could be found on cdbaby.com right now. By next week it should be on iTunes and Amazon.
So everybody go check it out. Me and Steve got early copies and we really enjoyed the CD. So
they also have some other songs on there, not on this album, of course, from their self-titled album on the site. So, like we said, check them out. Also, check us out on the Schmuck Sports Network.
And also check out the articles. Keith and Joe already have the previews for this week's games coming up. Keith has a couple other articles about other sports. And
Joe's got, I believe, a Hall of Fame article, Baseball Hall of Fame. That is one thing we're going to start doing. We're going to branch out a little bit. We're going to stick to football for now. The week of the Pro Bowl, there's really not too much football to talk about. So that week,
basketball and hockey.
The return of hockey. Check out the article written by a good friend of mine, Phil, on the website. There are links on our Facebook page, on the YouTube video. If you just scroll down into the comments and everything, we leave all the links to Division 1.1's Facebook page, the Schmuck Sports website. Check them out. Let us know what you guys think. Have any suggestions to improve them? Of course, we're always here to listen.
Yeah.
And like we said, we're going to branch out to other sports, basketball, hockey. We'll do baseball, close to the baseball season. We'll have after the Super Bowl, we'll have a full giant jet, what we think should happen during the off-season type show. As well as review the Super Bowl. Of course, we'll have a Super Bowl matchup preview show. But yeah, let me ask you,
Sure.
since we're still talking football, What do you think Andy Reid's going to be like in Kansas City?
It's going to be a couple years for him, too. They're going to draft up a quarterback and bring him with Charles. They're going to be good. They're going to be all right. But Andy Reid's going to carry them. It's going to be a rough year or two. Then, in a few years, they're going to be ready to go and become perennial division contenders for that division for a long time.
They're a talented team, you can argue. Especially if they re-sign Bo, who, with Andy Reid being the coach, you couldn't actually see it.
They have the pieces, and people are going to want to go to Kansas City now because Andy Reid's the coach.
Right.
They have instant credibility.
They need a change. It was a rough season. Everything.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Between the horrible season on the field, they had some off the field as well. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for this weekend. Not too much football left, which is disappointing. But hockey is back, so like I told you, we are going to branch out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to do other sports, especially because there's less football games, so we'll talk a little bit about other sports. Also, kids, do not tell people that your wife or girlfriend or your friends, girlfriends and wives, taste like Honey Nut Cheerios. We learned that from Mello this week.
Yes.
Things not to tell you.
And don't play Alabama in the national championship game. I learned that this week too.
And
that was very buzz-killing. But
check out what's her name's Twitter.
Oh, Miss Webb.
Miss Alabama.
Ooh. Yeah, Brent
Musburger.
Oh, horny old man, but she is very hot. So.
They said something like she went from 300 followers before that section to like 200,000.
You see Darnell Dockett gave him a cell phone number, give me a call, I want to get some wings.
Yep.
And LeBron James followed him. LeBron James.
Yeah, just following her. Did you see the reaction from McKenna?
Yeah, he's like, oh, no way, why isn't he following me? Do you see your girlfriend, bro?
That's why.
Yeah, AJ McCarron is, Miss Webb is this year's Lauren Tannehill, even though AJ's probably not going to get as high a draft pick.
He's not going pro. He's got another year.
Oh, smart move.
He's going to be a senior. So if he sticks around, then next year he'll be the Lauren Tannehill.
She's going to be so popular. And rumor has it, I don't know how Brent Musburger found this out, but she still goes to Auburn, Alabama's biggest rival.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, there's still enough time for her to go to grad school in Alabama. I'm sure Alabama's going to make a principle of her going to... Imagine her in your class. I bet you none of the guys pay attention to the professor in that class that she's in.
She's got to take online classes.
Oh, 100%.
You can't walk around campus. Especially because she probably wears her boyfriend's clothes. Like sweatshirts and stuff.
Damn.
It's got all the Alabama stuff. Yeah. She's not going to wear that around school.
Yeah, I'm sure she doesn't wear that. But anyway, this was our show this week. Once again, this is the Sndpodcast on the Sports Schmucks network.
Schmuck Sports. It's a tongue twister. We're still learning. Give us a chance. Schmuck Sports.
Schmuck Sports. Sorry, dyslexia. Schmuck Sports. Also, check out our band, like we just said, Division 1.1. And keep on liking our Facebooks. We're appreciating all the input people are giving us on Facebook and Twitter, and overall input of people listening. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. Enjoy your football.
Enjoy the playoffs, guys.
Sndpodcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.